Hello, get back to the wrestling fans. Jason and Haley here. We're going to talk about some Go.Fight.POW. Now, there's been a bunch of new people who have added the game now that the Kickstarter is over, and there was some confusion about rules and stuff like that. And I think Haley and I do a really good job of explaining rules as we go. But I guess maybe we're not either explaining them well enough or people aren't bothering to watch our videos. I don't know, because I guess they must not feel that the person, or people, I should say, not person, because it's Haley too, are producing, several dozen matches every time that we don't, whatever. Anyway, so these are much bigger than normal cards. These are printouts of cards from the Kickstarter, which I got permission to print out kind of bigger so I can show you them. So it's nice and easy to see. That are nice and big and easy to see. All right, so you'll notice one thing here. The first thing you're going to do whenever you're going to, well, obviously after you pick who you're going to have as your fighters, right? You got to pick your fighters, right? So we got 6 of them here. We're going to talk about these cards here. I'm going to move the dice tray out of the way. Haley will hold on to it for a second, right? Okay, so we got these 6 cards here, and here's a Harley. This is Harley Davis's Update. This is Blight, T-Bolt, Turbulence, Dewey Dropkick, and this is not the rookie Death Star. This is the 3-star. This is the, I don't know what the levels are. There's common, uncommon, and rare, or whatever. Who knows? Whatever. This must be that one. This is a very powerful Death Star card. Anyway, Death Star has a number of cards repeated over and over in different things. Anyway, so one of the things that we want to show you with these is, and this came up, is that obviously once you pick your fighters, or you're going to pick who you're going to have in the ring, is how do you determine who goes first? Now, that's determined with the fast forward, right, Hal?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, if we look at these cards, like his fast forward is a 2, he has a 0. So let's say Harley Davis and Blight were wrestling each other, right?
Yes.
And let's say Haley was Harley Davis and I was Blight. I wouldn't need to roll fast forward.
Because on a D6 die, you don't have a 0.
Right, of course, right? So Haley would roll. Now, let's say Haley hit her fast forward of 2. As Blight, I would, with official rules, roll my pop value and see if I can avoid a 1. If I hit a 1, I would then need to roll a 6, which is my power play. Now, you're saying, but you said with house rules. Now, when Haley and I play at home, we have as if you hit your finisher right at the beginning and whatever, and we do that. And then certain matches, that rule changes, and there are different types of matches that can be played. Not every match is exactly the same. So let's say, for sake of argument, that Blight, let's say Haley did not hit her fast forward. Now, technically, I'm sure you're supposed to both roll for initiative, but for us, if you don't have a fast forward, you don't get to have initiative. That's the whole point, is that you're waiting, right? Now, what if you had a situation like we had Blight and Dewey Dropkick? They both have 0. We would each roll a die, and high would take over on positive, right?
Yes.
So obviously on positive, you can see the difference here. Now, if you looked at like Blight, he has a move here that says not pretty, and then a 4, and it's in bold. That's a finisher.
Yes.
Right? We notice here, Dewey Dropkick does not have a finisher.
Yes.
Right.
He does have a star under the missed dropkick,
which says opponent rolls on positive. So Dewey Dropkick is not exactly the best wrestler here. He's kind of an enhancement guy. That's immediate turnover. Now, you'll notice here also, the other thing that's written in capitals is rumble rating, right? Which is Haley's favorite thing in the entire universe. No, she actually doesn't love rumble ratings. Rumble rating, when that comes up, you're going to look at your rumble rating. Now, Blight's rumble rating is +2. Dewey Dropkick is -1. In fact, that tells you he's a jobber. Most people are plus, like here, T-Bolt is +3, excuse me. Turbulence is +2. What's Death Star?
+2.
He's +2. Harley Davis is +3, right? And what you would do is you would roll a die, each one of you, and then you add your plus. In this case, you would subtract, right?
Yes.
Now, what you will hear sometimes on ours, I'll say highest in the cup, right? Well, what does that mean, Haley?
Well, if you have the same number, like if I was playing as T-Bolt and and Daddy was playing as Harley, they both have a +3. So whoever has the higher number would continue or go to positive.
Right. We would say higher in the cup, because there's no point in constantly adding 3 to a number when we're both adding 3. That's kind of redundant, right? Yes. So, but obviously if we were playing with Blight and Turbulence are both +2 or Death Star +2, we would say higher in the cup. When we're not higher in the cup, but Blight versus Harley Davis, let's say, we would say, okay, I have a 9. If I have a 6 and a 3, and Haley would say, oh, I have an 8 because I have a 6 and a 2,
yeah.
Right? So even though we both would roll a 6 on that, it's not a draw, because we would add our number. Now, what could happen is I might roll a 5 with Harley Davis and have an 8, and Haley might roll a 6 with Blight and have an 8. But let's say I was on positive. I would retain my positive roll because I was there. If Haley was on positive, if Blight was on positive, right, and we both tied, you would retain, right? Tie stays with whoever has it. So that's on the positive side. Now, there could be a double number. Now, like this, Harley Davis, he has 2, right? He has 2. So if we rolled headbutt dive, you would roll a 1 and a 2. Now, here's the question. So that people had. If I rolled that, and then let's say we're playing against Death Star.
Yeah.
Death Star has a pop of 2. Do I need to roll that 2 twice?
No, because if it was like Blight and T-Bolt, you can see that he only has 1 and he has a 4. Then you would have to roll twice. But because there's a second number with the finisher, you wouldn't have to roll twice. You would just roll a 1 or a 2.
Right. You have to avoid the 1 or a 2, right? So as Haley was saying, since Blight has a 4, and let's say he rolled his pop not pretty against T-Bolt 4, because the 4 is repeated and the only number that is there, so it is repeated, you roll it twice. That is official rules. But what if I don't want to do that? House rules, you make up your own house rules. Whatever you play at your house is what you play at your house. Okay? And I don't mean to really have to be inside your house to play. Make sure everyone understands that. God forbid. But the thing is, like here, like T-Bolt is 3 and 6, but Turbulence is a 3. So let's say T-Bolt hit his T-Bolt slam on Turbulence. You would only roll avoid 3 or 6. That actually works to your advantage sometimes when you're picking out who you're going against. If you know that a guy has a double finish, a 3 and a 6, you might want to pick somebody who has one of those numbers, a 3. It lowers your probability to only 1/3. Whereas T-Bolt 3 and 6 versus Death Star with a 2, 1/2 of the time, 3 out of 6, 1/2, right? Is you're going to have a chance. You're going to hit your a place where you're going to have to actually hit your power play to save it.
Yes.
So on negative, you'll notice there are things that say dodge, hit, and block. Those are the standards. Now, not everyone has dodge, hit, and block. Some people, I don't think anyone here has it. We saw it in our tournament. Some people will have 3 reversals, and one of those will be missing.
Yes.
So what happens is when one of those are missing, obviously you would have a 3rd reversal. None of these guys have 3 reversals. I don't see any. No, I don't think so. Now, you also should be ready for the pop. Now, your pop, of course, is where you're going to have your pin, basically, or your submission if it's a submission, right, Hales?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you'll notice that pops are in different places and sometimes have 1 number and sometimes have 2 number. If you have 2 numbers, those are your pop numbers. So if, let's say, T-Bolt was rolling against Dewey Dropkick and he had a 3, 6, and it's a 4 and a 5, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically 1 or 2 is the only thing you could roll to not get pinned, right? The other thing is, when you're looking here, is that obviously you have the person's name, Turbulence, T-Bolt, right, Blight. That's a reversal. And then you go back from negative, you take over on positive. And if you watch, again, any of the videos, you'll hear it say like, Bodine takes over, or like, Blate Ant takes over, or whatever. And it's her taking over because she now rolled a place where she has a reversal. Now, Haley's mentioned there's stars before, and some people have stars and some people don't. Like Turbulence's star here, it says Dust Storm 1. Add 1 finish after each pop fail, max 1 to 5. So let's say Turbulence was wrestling T-Bolt, right? And he rolls his pop. There's 1 and 4. T-Bolt doesn't roll a 1 or a 4. He's good. It fails. So now T-Bolt would go to and we would usually make it 4 or 5 to make it easy, right? If it was like 1, we go 1, 2, whatever. You just kind of pick the number. Now you need to remember that number, because I'm not going to be there to remind you. Haley's not going to be there to remind you, right? So you remember that. So what happens is, as you do that, you go through. Now, who has a start? Blight always starts fight in duos competition. Okay, that's a duos. We're not talking about. What was this one? We did this one, right?
Yeah.
Opponent rolls on positive. What's his?
On the backflip dropkick.
Oh, okay.
1 to 5, play normal. 6. It lands the flying cross chop, which is a 5. Which gives you another chance at a finish. Yes.
Okay, so there's things like that. So this move, the backflip dropkick, plays normal as a regular move where you would roll on your negative. As you roll, if you hit a 6, as the opponent would roll on negative, right? Yes. You roll on your positive, and then you would roll, and if you hit that 6, it's just as if you hit a finish. Now, what's Harley's? It says once per fight, roll D6, 1 to 4, play normal, 5 to 6, play pile driver. Okay, so this is a case where out of a failed pop, he now can hit his pile driver. Now, this is how Meteor Man, was it Meteor? No, Take it back.
No.
Varsity did the PCD out of this in the Mars Madness tournament. If you didn't bother watching it, how many hours of time did Haley and I spend working those things? You should go back and watch it, right? That's one of the cases where now, even though, let's say Haley was on positive and she rolled there and I'm hitting here, I can roll that once per fight. And if I hit 5 or 6, I've now hit her with a pile driver. She's got to roll her pop plus the 5 and 6 on the finish.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so then what happens if you hit a finish and you actually roll the number, right? So let's say, here we go, 3, 6, or 3. We roll a 3 or a 6, doesn't matter. And Turbulence would then have to hit his power play. His power play is a 6. Your power play is like your save, right? So your power play here of a 6, Turbulence would need to hit a 6. He fails to hit a 6, the match is over. Now, there are some rules about championship matches, champions getting 2 chances to roll their power play, stuff like that. All of that is explained in the rules. We're just talking a regular non-championship match here. Now, let's say we went the other way. Let's say the Dust Storm, 1 or 4, right? Let's say we hit the Dust Storm, boom, he hits a 4. So T-Bolt now needs to roll a 4 or a 5. That is a dot between them. There's no dashes. I don't think any of you guys have dashes. This is a 2 or a 4, right? But what happens is then you have a choice of, obviously you hit a 4 or a 5, and you would make the save. T-Bolt would be safe. If he fails, he is pinned. All right? Yes, Haley.
So when you look at Dewey Dropkick, you can also see he has a 0. So if he were to roll, let's say, like a 1, 4, or 5, any of them, the match would automatically be over because he can't save himself. He can't kick out.
He has no power play. Right, exactly. And that's one of the reasons why we know the -1 Rumble rating, the fact that he has somewhere to take over the other team, the other person take over, he has no fast forward, no power play, and 2, this guy's not exactly, the world championship material, right? Could he be dragged there maybe in a trios team or a duos where he never gets in the ring? Maybe he's going to team with Monument and Galaxy guy. Although I think I'd want to team with Meteor Man, the guy who actually won Mars Madness 2023. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert, if you didn't bother wasting the time watching it, there's what it is. Okay, so the whole point is that there are things that are very similar among the cards, but they are in fact different, and there's different pieces and parts. This is not even all of it. We haven't even talked duos. We haven't talked trios. We haven't talked any of the other special features that might be there where things build, or like how your finisher changes. Like I'm thinking Nicholas, I think it's Nicholas's card, right? With the cannonball, where it goes from a 1 to a 2 to a 3.
And it goes back to a 1.
Then it goes back to a 1. It cycles, right? Each of the cards are unique. You should read them. Now, again, I blew these up to make them nice and big so we can see them. Yes, they are definitely smaller. And yes, some of us are getting old and our eyes aren't as good as they used to be, right, Hale?
Yeah.
Right? So, if you need to, get yourself, just get up close and look at them. I mean, again, I wanted to make sure you could all see them on here. Now, this video has gone on about 12, 13 minutes already. We're kind of been talking about these things. These are the basics here. I was hoping to roll out a match. Would you like to roll a match?
Yeah.
Okay, so pick who you'd like.
I'm going to choose Blight.
You can take Blight. I'm going to take Dewey Dropkick.
Because he looks like a character out of one of my favorite shows.
Okay, I'll take Dewey Dropkick. Move these guys out of the way. I know some of you were disappointed we didn't take Death Star, because some of you, that's your guy, even though you've never probably ever played as him, some of you. Okay, now, let me just say this. So these are just standard die. If you bought the Kickstarter die, they'll have the special logo on them. If you have the original Kickstarter die, like some of us do, they have other logos. We've seen us use them before. Haley and I are just using 2 regular die. These dice trays, right? I get these on Amazon. I'm going to say this is sometimes I can get them 5 of them for $7, $8, right? You don't have to use this. You can roll on here. It's just some people get really, really, really antsy. They don't like our dice bouncing around too much because, I don't know, they have whatever OCD they have. Haley, you green?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. Now, I don't have a fast forward. Haley does not have a fast forward. How crazy is that? So we are just rolling for initiative. So I'm going to roll, and Haley, I have a 2, and Haley is a 6. So Haley takes over on positive. Okay, so Haley is on positive as Blight. Okay.
1. Fierce Forearm.
Okay, so I roll, and I roll a 3. Now my 3 says dodge, so I dodge. Notice Dewey Dropkick, no reversals. It's going to be, go. 6.
4 or...
So it's his not pretty, which is his finish, which is a 4, and mine is a 4 or a 5. So I have to avoid a 4 or a 5. And of course I do, because this match is going to go on. 1, all right?
3, Rumble rating.
Okay, perfect example. Now I have a -1. I roll mine in the cup. I have a 0. There's no way I can win this.
I have
and
8.
You have an 8. total. So go.
1. Fierce forearm.
Okay. 3 is dodge again. 6. We're back to the not pretty, so it's 4 or 5 I have to avoid. That is a 5, and the match is over because I have no power play. Now, had it been somebody else with a power play, like here, like Harley Davis has a power play of 2, I would have to roll my power play. So that about does it, folks. I mean, there's a quick match. I know the trials of Dewey Dropkick aside, you know, again, he's designed to kind of be an enhancement guy. And Blight, he does, you know, he kind of looks like one of the monsters from the movie The Gate from the 80s, early 90s. I know some of you don't know that because you're not old enough, but it's okay. Haley knows what that is because Haley's actually well-versed in her horror movies and stuff because, you know, she is. But yeah, so the key is this, guys, is that you're supposed to have fun doing this. This is supposed to be enjoyable. Haley and I have a great time rolling these out. Again, we printed it out. We wanted to go through all the rules for you so that people could actually know what they're doing. You know, if you have questions on the message board, of course, and on the Go.Fight.POW Facebook group, you know, I'm one of the people on there who answers a lot of the questions. So does my brother. So does Eric. So do other people on there too. I'm not saying that we're the only ones, but often it is very often, you know, people are asking questions and we're getting them answered. All right. So Haley, you know, give them the spiel.
Hit the red subscribe button, turn on notifications, like this video, and comment down below.
All right, folks. So like we say here, get back to the wrestling. We'll see you
at the matches.